Okay, I have 4 pieces for my sweater here. 1, 2, 3, 4. Okay. Let me get the things. We don't need this anymore. We've already been knitting. We're done with the knitting part. So you can go over there. Then let's take a look at what we've got. I don't really need this right now either. This is my what's got me there, and I don't need it right now. What I have here, I have a yarn needle, and I have my 4 pieces. I also have a piece of flannel. Okay, so flannel is a soft pajama material. And the nice thing about flannel is that if you, for example, these are very curly because we did it in stockinette stitch. But if you put it on flannel, you can actually get it to like stay. Stay. Good pattern piece. Good sweater piece. Okay, so we're going to make that stay. So that's why I use flannel with this. Okay? And it happens to have beer on it, so that makes me even happier. Beer flannel. Okay, so this is the back. We're going to put that down. Then we're going to take the front and lay it upside down on top. Now, a lot of people use pins to hold everything in place, but I'm a little bit lazy, stubborn, stupid, I don't know, whatever it is. And I don't use pins. I just do it. I just sew it. So remember, we have one long end on this side where we started here and a long end on this side. We're not going to do that yet. That's our last one. Okay, first one is this little guy. Remember on the front how we had that little piece where it doesn't connect very well? We are going to whip stitch this, which means just go in and out, and we're going to pull it together. And now I'm just going to make a little holding knot. So I'm going to go through. Oops. Yeah, not showing very well. I'm going to go through, and then I'm going to go back through my loop just like that. Again, dolls don't care. Alright, now if you look on this side, it looks like it goes straight across again. Everything is happy now. And don't worry, this is all going to be part of the neck, so we're going to do some ribbing on there. Okay, that's our first little thing that we do. That's done. I am not going to cut this yet. I know it's like so many little things all over the place, but I'm not going to cut it yet. Okay, so now I'm going to match up on the top, and we're going to sew the tops together. I am going to use the one that is on my front, and we're going to sew the ones from the front to the back. Okay, now you have 2 options. If you want a visible seam, then you're going to sew the back one here to the back one here, okay, like that. If you want an invisible seam, we sew the front one here to the front one, the ones that are close together. Do you see? Let's do it closer. If you want a visible seam, back, back. If you want invisible seam, front, front. Okay? I want a visible seam. I like looking at seams. I consider it a design choice. So I'm going to just whip stitch, back, back. Just you, not the other one. Back, back. And then we're going to do one on the corner. And I'm going to let that go. Not going to tie it off, nothing else. Then I'm going to do the same thing over here. Remember, we're using the yarn that's on the front side. Actually, on this one, it's loose. I don't know why that's loose. Oh, that's right, because I had to tie it. Whatever. Anyway, okay, so we're going to use the yarn on the front one. And I'm going to thread the needle with my super old eyes first. Okay. Back. Oops. Yep. Make sure I look at the right one. Back. Back, back. Okay, and I'll show you visible seam when we're done with this, and you can decide then on your own if you want visible or invisible seams. Just you, not your friend. Okay, so then if you look over here, see that line there? That's the visible seam. I kind of like the look of it. A lot of people don't. If you don't like it, then you can just sew the other side. Okay, and we're just going to leave that hanging right there. We're not going to be stretching much right now anyway, but you can see this is our neck hole. That is going to be just about big enough for a doll's head to go through. Boom. Pretty big. MSD size doll, you know. Take the wig off. All right. Now, the next thing we're going to do is we're going to sew the sleeves onto the body. This is where I had to join yarns, so I'm going to use the other side. So it's more like what you have. All right, all of your other yarn you're going to kind of pull out of the way. Let me pull this back. Okay? And we're just going to be concerned with this along here. That is where your sleeve is going to go. And if you look, when we finish the sleeve, I was talking about the sleeve caps, it will fit right in there. This is where the sleeve cap goes, across the shoulders, and then it'll come down and connect just about where your first decrease was. It's incredible, amazing. Okay, so we're just going to sew whoop, all the way around there, and then around, all the way around the other side. And if you need help, I can help you, but you probably don't need help, so I might just do it. Now, the way that I do this, though, is I use the yarn that I have here for the sewing. But it doesn't always start in the same place. Like this one is fine from here to here. Okay, I'm just going to leave that. I'm going to use that yarn for that. Okay, on this side though, it's all the way over here. How do I get the yarn to move over to the middle? I'm going to show you a really quick trick. We are going to weave it through. Okay, so it's on this end and I want it in the middle here. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to take this and I'm going to go weave it through. Up, down, up, down, up, down, up. And pull it across. Loosely. Okay, I want it, and then I pull a little bit, make sure it's loose in there. And the nice thing is, you don't really see it here because this is going to be inside the seam. Okay. So let's get started. And now it's at the same place that we need. Okay. This one, I don't want a visible seam, so I'm going to go the other way. Oops. Let me get your yarn, this guy out of the way. I have so much yarn here. Goodness gracious. Okay. Let's take a look. Now I'm going to do the close one. And the close one. Close one. Close one. This is where the fudging comes in. Because you may not have the same number of stitches, but you will have the same length. Don't go by stitches, go by length. All right, so here, this is a little loose. So I'm going to whip stitch through the whole thing, all of it, and all of it here. And some of the slack will be taken up while I do that. Okay? Sorry if it was off camera for a minute there. My eyes are not fabulous anymore. Oh, okay, and here I'm at the end. Okay, so that side's done. Done. And now I'm going to do this side. Needle. I had some larger yard needles, but I lost them. Far side, near side, near side, near side. Now, that goes here, and my end goes here. Okay. Remember, this is where we started our decreases. Started our decreases here, right? And then this is the corner of the armhole. So now I can just sew it across. Remember, don't worry about counting stitches. Your stitches don't have to match up. The length has to match up. All right? Because we're sewing these together, we have a little bit of leeway. And also because the dolls are not going to be moving around a whole lot on their own. They're not going to go out into the playground and jump around and things are going to come undone. No, we're going to pose them carefully. We are not going to do calisthenics with them. Does anyone know what calisthenics are anymore? It was a big thing way back in the day. Okay. Almost done. You notice I'm just whip stitching. Whip stitch means you go up and over, like this. If I were making it with, you know, a lot of finishing and fanciness involved, I might do a blanket stitch. Okay, done. All right, so now we look and see. Oh, there's a hole. How do I fix that? I'm just going to go back in and sew up right there. Sometimes holes appear because we are... This is why we don't tie knots. Okay, sometimes holes appear when we are knitting just because of the tension in the yarn. And so this is actually a hole from a... You can see from a distance between at the end of a row. So I'm just going to go deeper and grab a little bit more. Ugh, needle. Need to get some big needles. Big enough for my eyes to see. All right, so I'm just going to pull down from further down and pull it in. It shouldn't make too much of a difference in the overall look. In fact, it's probably not going to be noticeable. In fact, the other hole probably wouldn't have been noticeable, but figured I might as well just fix it now while I'm here. Okay. One more for good measure. Done. Okay, so here we have half of the sweater. One whole sleeve is done. Okay. And across the top I have a little bit of that seam and the seam here. This is going to just, this little gap right here is going to disappear when we do the neck. Yeah. Okay, so I'm actually going to pause right now and sew the other sleeve on and then show you what we do after the other sleeve is on, because I figured you guys can do that by yourself. Okay, so both of our sleeves are on, and all I did was I folded it over again so that we can see this, here we go, what we have. All right, so now what we're going to do is we're going to start at the sleeve. Okay, you have these long ends at the end of the sleeve here, and we're going to sew along here and down, along here and down. Okay, and then you can do the same thing sewing these up if you run out of yarn, okay? But it basically just folds over, and you can see the full inside out sweater right here. Make sure it's inside out when you do it. Everything is all right here. And remember, you had the slipped stitch at the end of each row. There's a long space in between. That's going to be your gauge so that you can, when you sew them together, okay? So let's start. At the end of the sleeve. Okay. I feel like a lot of this video is just me threading a needle. Okay. Fold it over. And we're going to start. Remember, if you want the seams to be, to disappear, you do the inside ones. You sew the inside ones together. Okay. I think you can probably, we could also blanket stitch it. So I should show you blanket stitch, but you can probably look it up online too. I know this is not the exciting part. Apologize. I wish I could do a little fast forward thing. I don't know how to do any video editing though. Did it in college long time ago. Yeah, don't ask how old I am. Older than I seem. Too old to play with dollies. Never. We're never too old to play with the dolls. And this is the point where I just kind of go, blech, screw it. I'm just going to sew it. Underneath the arm, nobody ever sees this anyway. Everything should match up just right. If it doesn't match up, this is where I said you're going to fudge a lot of the things. In the sewing part, you have the options of tucking in here, and then see, like, this is a little loose, so I'm going to do a double in there, take a little bit more out, go right into the seam. Don't worry about all these extra yarn ends that you have here. We're going to sew them in at the end. Okay. I mean, honestly, a lot of this stuff, if you just get it together, we're good. Okay, I'm going to stop it now and then show you when we're done. Next video.